welcoming everybody that's joining us tonight for the Wednesday talk. It's the middle of the week, so everybody's had a busy week so far, I think. So just taking time to settle in and get ourselves ready to listen to the Dhamma. We're very fortunate here today to have Venerable Nyaninda from Malaysia zooming in to share the Dhamma tonight. Just a little bit about Bhante. Bhante Venerable Nyaninda is a graduate in electrical engineering and computing science from Sydney University, Australia. He received higher ordination as a Bhikkhu under Sadhammaramsi Sayadaw in 2004. He had received serious contemplative training under Pak Auk in Myanmar. He had spent many years practicing in Myanmar, India, Nepal, and Germany. He finds that studying the original words of the Buddha according to the system of listening, contemplating, meditating has greatly enhanced his understanding and practice of the Dhamma. Before becoming a monk, he had practiced under various Buddhist traditions. Currently, he is the spiritual advisor of Buddhist Missionary Society Malaysia Youth Section and the BMSM Kajang annual teenage camp. So Venerable tonight will be talking on the Four Noble Truths, the core teaching of the Buddha. So without further ado, over to you, Venerable Nyaninda.
Okay, we will start with a short guided meditation. So sit comfortably. If you are sitting on a chair, try to keep both the sole of the feet firmly on the ground. Keep the back straight, but relaxed, comfortable. Relax your shoulders. Imagine that there is a string tying the head up to the ceiling. You can choose to close the eyes or open the eyes or half close. But if you are sleepy, please open the eyes. If you are restless, then maybe you might want to close or half close. Put your attention on the breath. Just know the breath as it goes in. Know the breath as it goes out. Now, if you are sleepy, put more attention on the in-breath. It will make you more alert. If you are restless, a lot of thoughts, put more attention on the out-breath. Putting attention on the out-breath is like sighing. You feel more relaxed. Once you are back to normal, don't control the breath. Just know the breath as it goes in, as it goes out. If there are wandering thoughts, don't try to push away the thoughts. Just continue with the breath. Of course, don't get lost in the thoughts. Just continue with the breath as it goes in, as it goes out. If the breath becomes more subtle, don't make it gross. That's a good sign. If you can't feel the breath, you can put attention on the energy of the breath going in, going out. Now, as you put attention on your breath, notice that the breath keeps changing, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes deep, sometimes shallow, sometimes in breath, sometimes out breath. That's impermanent. Also notice that you cannot fully control the breath. Every in-breath has to be followed by out-breath followed by in-breath. That's a form of unsatisfactoriness or dukkha. Also notice that you can be aware of the breath. The breath cannot be aware of you. So you are not the breath, or the breath is not you. So that's not self. Or in other words, we cannot fully control the breath. So the breath also don't belongs to us. It's just a process. Finally, notice that the awareness of the breath is always calm and peaceful. No matter whether the breath is fast or slow, pleasant or unpleasant, the awareness of it is always calm and peaceful. It's always okay. Okay, just feel your body. If you can feel your body, can slowly open the eyes for those who have closed the eyes. Okay. Now we will start the Dhamma sharing. Okay. We'll start by paying homage to Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, before I continue, few things. In this Dhamma sharing, if you have any comments, clarification, or questions, please do ask along the way. Okay, don't worry about interrupting me because I prefer a more interactive sessions. So please do ask. Also, this is a continuation from the Dhamma sharing I gave last time in June to Metta Center, but I will start off by summarizing what we discussed in the last Dhamma sharing. Okay, let me share my screen.
Sikan ada juga. Kan.
Okay, everyone can see my screen on the PowerPoint. Okay, so the Four Noble Truth actually is very, very important in the Buddha's teaching, regardless of whichever sect you are in. In fact, in one of the discourse in Mahapatipadopama Sutta, which is the discourse on the greater elephant footprint, the Buddha says, just as the footprint of the elephant contains all animals' footprint, the Four Noble Truth contains all wholesome Dhamma. All wholesome Dhamma means all the path, all the teachings, all the phenomena towards awakening, towards enlightenment. So basically, if you can really understand Four Noble Truth, you basically will have a good grasp on the path towards awakening or enlightenment. Okay, next one is that this Four Noble Truth, look at my slide, I put in /reality, because to me, truth gives the idea of something religious. And for me, the Four Noble Truth is closer to something scientific, like fire burns is a reality. So it's nothing to believe. Truth gives the idea that you have to believe something. But this Four Noble maybe reality is something that you can experience and realize it here and now. Like if I throw this pen, it will drop down because of gravity. Okay? And you don't have to believe me. Whether you're a monk or not a monk, whether you're Australian, American, you throw a pen, it will drop down. Okay? You experience the same thing. So the Four Noble reality doesn't matter whether you believe or don't believe, whether you are Malaysian or American or Australian, you will experience the same reality. Okay? And the next point is that this Four Noble reality or truth is actually applicable to solve all problems in the world, whether it's business problem, engineering problem, whatever problems that you have. Because whatever problem you have, first you got to identify the problem, then you find the cause. If you don't even know what's the problem, you cannot solve it because you can't even look where to look for the cause. So you got to identify the problem, find the cause, and then see what is the solution and the method to solve it. Okay. And the next keyword is actually noble. So this Four Noble reality or Four Noble truth is very profound. It has a very deep meaning. So actually when Buddha was preaching 2,500 years ago, every single of his audience have different understanding and realization depending on their level of wisdom. So to me, each teaching of the Buddha has many different layers of meaning. There is a gross level and there is a much profound level. Okay. So this, I didn't do it in the last sharing. This sharing, I want to point out what is the traditional explanation of this Four Noble Truth. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying that that's a more gross level. And what I'm sharing with you is a more profound understanding of this Four Noble Truth. So on the gross level, normally we take this Four Noble Truth, the problem, as dukkha and traditionally translated as suffering, which is where the how Buddhism get the wrong idea. People get the wrong idea of Buddhism being pessimistic because of this translation of dukkha to suffering, which I don't like actually. Anyway, traditionally the cause is attributed to tanha, which traditionally translated as craving, as in attachment. Again, I don't like this translation because it gives you an idea that we are naughty in a sense. Okay. Solution. Traditionally, the solution is to eliminate or cut off all your attachments, which to me is you can get the wrong idea. Meditators will know if you sit and try to tell yourself, no thought, no thought, no thought, more thoughts will come. So if you try to make too much effort to cut your attachment, probably more attachment might come. Okay, so it might be useful for some people, but I will show you a more profound understanding later. The method, Noble Eightfold Path, traditionally is being thought of as you discipline yourself, sila, then you develop concentration, samadhi, and then you have wisdom. Okay, but that's not the order of the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, I will share with you the order is actually the other way around. Okay, why? I will go on to this. So the more profound understanding of this Four Noble Truth is the problem actually is insecurity or unsatisfactoriness. I prefer this translation of dukkha, of life, due to personalization of impersonal experience. Because every single experience we have actually is not personal. Okay, but we personalize it, forming a self, which is illusory because it's not there. When I say the self is illusory, I mean a permanent, non-changing self. Okay, we have a self that keeps changing every single moment. But you and me have this deep embedded thinking that there is a non-changing permanent self. That's why we think yesterday's I and today I and tomorrow I is the same. If someone scolded us yesterday, we still get upset with that person when we meet them. But actually, that person is no longer exists because he changes and you changes also. And even our body experience, the problem comes when we personalize it. For example, I've shown in the last sharing, for example, if you have a sensation in the stomach, normally our reaction is, my stomach very painful, maybe cancer. Then you will have a lot of suffering. But if your experience is there is a sharp sensation on the stomach, you have a much different experience. So it's because we personalize every single experience that we have, either physically or mentally, and we want to make a permanent, non-changing self, a secure self. That's a problem. Because by nature, the self is impermanent, insecure, because it keeps changing. We are trying to make something impermanent into permanent, something insecure into secure. If you can accept its nature of insecurity, its nature of impermanence, then we can be very happy and there's no problem. One more example on the mental, how we personalize it. When my mom was diagnosed with 4th stage cancer, I didn't have much problem, as in I wasn't depressed, I wasn't sad. Of course, I wasn't happy, but I was very efficient in doing what needed to be done. I tried to get traditional help for my mom, to get the best Western help, to get family supports, whatever I can do. But after a while, the minute when I sit down and start thinking, why does this happen to my mom? How long will this last? Why does my mom has to go through this? Then I was very tired. I was depressed and tired and doesn't have energy to go on with whatever I need to do. But once I get up from those thinking, the energy comes back. So it's the personalization of the impersonal experience that causes problem, not the incident. Okay, if you step back from the incident, we never have much problem in life. Any questions on this? Okay, everyone okay? Okay, so the problem is basically how we create an illusory self or an illusory self which don't exist. Okay, when I say don't exist, please be careful. I don't mean that there is nothing. There is something which is processes going on in personal experience, but we make it a personal solid entity. Okay? Because there are some people go to the other extreme to see everything as nothing. That's very dangerous. Okay. Now the cause is the unaware emotions arising together with the personalization. Okay. So when you personalize things, you have like, don't like, and then you have upset with things that you don't like, happy with things that you like. So there is these emotions that come, and these emotions come together with your thoughts, your personalization. So you can only get angry if you have angry thoughts. You can only get fearful when you have fearful thoughts. So actually your emotions don't come from outside. This is very important. Your emotions come from here. When someone says something, when you have the thoughts, why did he say this? How come he insult me? How come he do that to me? Then you get angry. Okay. And I think it happens more to the newer generation. Their tolerance level resilience level is lower. Because I know one of my cousin, when the boss ask her, few times, why is she late for work? She felt that she's being micromanaged. She felt that she's being insulted. And to me, it's just, you take it too personal. So we can take it as just the boss being concerned with us, or the boss being concerned with our work, or we can take it personal as in the boss is insulting me, micromanaging me. And when you take it personal, then you have this anger, upset emotion. So the anger, upset emotion don't come from what the boss say or don't say. So this is very important. So basically your problem and cause is tied together to what Bhante Punyaji, a Sri Lankan scholar, called the dream of existence. Because there is no solid entity that exists, but you have an illusion, like a dream, that there is a solid entity that exists. And that is the problem and the cause. Okay. So what is the solution? Is just to be conscious of these unaware emotions and how you personalize it. When you can see that your problem comes from here, that means you creating your own anger. It's like you slapping your own self. You will not continue slapping yourself. But now, most of us thinks that my anger comes from outside, so I have no control, so I can't stop my anger. But the minute you are conscious that your anger is a reflection of your angry thoughts, you will not continue slapping yourself. That's the same with fear, same with upset, same with depression. Okay, once you see that you are in this dream of existence, you will immediately wake up. So the solution is awakening from the dream of existence. And the method, the journey towards this awakening, if you look at Noble Eightfold Path properly, actually we are normally taught as Sila, as in discipline, Samadhi, concentration, and then Panya, wisdom. But actually that's not the actual order. The actual order is Panya, wisdom first, because you need the proper direction first. So the wisdom part is what I shared with you just now. You have to know the problem, cause, and what is the solution. The problem and the cause is the dream of existence. The solution is also seeing this dream of existence. And that is the wisdom part, the beginning. Then the middle part, the Sila, actually is to get yourself, discipline yourself to see this wisdom in every part of your life. There is a little bit of effort, but not too much, no need too much effort. Like now, if you look in front of me, in front of you, you will see a screen, you will see me. There's no effort needed. You will definitely see my face unless you close your eyes. So it's a matter of looking at the correct direction and you will see. So the Noble Eightfold Path is realizing the wisdom. Realizing the wisdom is through seeing, and then you got to see in all aspects of your life, the discipline. And then the last part, Samadhi, is you become one with the reality. So you and the reality is inseparable. You no longer have to think to know that your anger, your fear comes from here, not from outside. It's already part of you. This wisdom is part of you. Okay, any questions so far?
Hi, Bhante. There is a question that's been sent to me. The question is, what's the relationship between tanha, unaware emotion, and self? Does self arise and then unaware emotion, or opposite? Would emotion arise? And if we become aware, then there is no self attached, thus no suffering. That's the question.
Yeah, the emotions and the self, they arise together. Like your angry thoughts and your anger arises together. They are two sides of a same coin. Okay? So when you have angry thoughts, you have anger. When there's no angry thoughts, you have no more anger. Same with fear. I'm using anger because it's easier to see for most people. Same with fear, depression, happiness, so on. And this is, to me, a very big paradigm shift for myself. Because for most people, especially Buddhists, we were told to try to control your anger. The anger is no good, okay? And try to stop the anger. But do you realize that actually, if you don't continue making effort to make angry thoughts, you cannot continue to be angry. I repeat, if you don't continue making effort to create new angry thoughts, you cannot continue to be angry. Which means that actually we need a lot of effort to continue to be angry, to be sad, to be depressed, and so on. If you really see this, you will not continue unless you're very sadistic. You just want to torture yourself. Okay? So to me, all this Dhamma, you can realize at this moment. And your life will immediately change at this moment when you see it. It's not tomorrow, the next day, or next life. It's now, at this moment. So please clarify if you cannot, if you have doubt.
Hope that
Okay?
answers.
Yeah.
Svante, there's another question on anxiety. Although you are not consciously worrying, why do we feel anxious?
Okay. Why we feel anxious is few reasons. You might not be aware of your thoughts, but definitely you have anxious thoughts. If you don't have anxious thoughts, you cannot be anxious. Okay. And another problem is quite often we think that if we worry more, we think more, things will be safer or better. We have this totally very strange belief, which is not true. In fact, the more you worry, you're not productive at all. So first, you got to explore in your daily life to see that worry is not helpful. Second, you have to be aware that immediately when you are worried, you definitely are having worry thoughts. Don't have to check, don't have to look for them. Just two ways you can do. One is switch to a positive thoughts, okay? Not the best way. Another way is to maybe free your mind, okay? For most people, a bit difficult to just meditate and free their mind. Then you, by force, you try to change your thoughts to something positive for the moment until your anxious thoughts don't continue. Because to continue with anxious thoughts, actually, you need effort also. You might not be aware. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so if you can...
One more
okay.
in the room.
Okay.
Yeah, I also heard that having anxious thoughts affects physical health. Is that true?
Sorry? I couldn't...
I also heard that having anxious thoughts affects the physical health as well, like causing diseases like cancer and all. Is that true?
Does it cause cancer? Yes, of course. The body and mind is inseparable. If the body is sick, it will affect the mind. If the mind is negative, it will affect the body, definitely. Yeah. That's proven by the scientific We don't need Buddha's teaching. Okay, any other questions on that?
No further questions so far, Bhante. Thank you.
Okay. No further questions. I'll digress a little bit to, this is from the documentary and the book called The Brain by David Eagleman. Actually, you'll be quite surprised. We think that we see images out there. Like now, you think that you see an image of me. You actually don't. What happens is light shines on me. It reflects into your retina. So only lights goes into your eyes, not even colors. Okay? Because of the different frequency of light in your brain, you reconstruct the image of me. And you add stories from your background. This is a monk, and what last time I listened to his talk before, and so on. So actually, you are creating the world, your personal world, every moment. That's why two of us can be in the same room, but can be experiencing totally different things. Because every moment we are creating our own world. And in that documentary, they showed it by getting someone who was at 3 years old, he got blind. He didn't have enough time to construct meaning to what he see. When he was 42 years old, they operated on his eye, and the eye becomes functional again. He can see, but he couldn't see because he can't make any meaning of what information coming into his eyes. He doesn't have that constructing information from these lights that come into his eye. And it took him quite a number of years to do that. Yeah, I just want to stress that every moment we are personalizing our work and personalizing ourselves. And that's the problem, because there is no, we think it's not a problem if we know that it keeps changing, but we think it's a solid reality. That's the problem. Okay, while we are at this, can you see that I'm slowly bringing you to see that traditionally there is a separate problem, separate cause, separate solution, a separate method. But in a profound, deeper level, actually, the problem is the dream of existence. The cause is dream of existence, of course. Solution is seeing this dream of existence, and the method is also seeing this dream of existence. So basically, the problem is the solution, if you saw it. And that's how profound it is. Okay. Next slide. Okay, try this exercise, okay? Imagine that you have an opportunity to go to the Himalaya mountains to meditate for maybe half a year or a year. When you reach there, you can experience the fresh air, the great qi, you feel very lighthearted, you see beautiful scenery. So you are extremely happy, okay? But in the Himalayas, mainly they just eat this dried barley called sampa, okay? It's okay, but it's very plain, okay? So maybe after a few months, you miss home food, and you are a bit down because things get a bit bored and you miss home food. Then someone brought your favorite food. I don't know what's your favorite food. I don't know, pizza or whatever. And your saliva is dripping. You're very joyful. Finally, you got your favorite food. But you decided that you want to offer this to the Triple Gem for being your gratitude. Suddenly, an eagle came and grabbed whatever food that you offered to the Triple Gem. Now, all this, did you really feel all this? You did feel all this happiness and this boredom, this joy of getting your home food, and then this frustration of losing it. But what if suddenly you realize that it's all a dream? You woke up. Okay. Again, I want to ask, did you feel the joy, the happiness, the frustration, and so on?
Yes.
Okay, even though it's a dream. Okay, so dream is not nothing. Our daily existence, daily activities, daily experience is similar. Because whatever experience we have, we make a story out of it, then only we experience it. Same like in a dream. And we did really experience it. So you cannot say it's nothing. Like in a dream, for this dream, you have this happiness, you have this boredom, you have this frustration, and you have this joy. So same in your daily activity. You cannot say it's nothing. Okay, next slide. So this one I mentioned in the last Dhamma sharing. I just want to reiterate that traditionally we translate the last part. This is from Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. The last part about the first noble truth dukkha, sankitena paccuppadana khandha dukkha, we translate as, traditionally, the bottom part, we translate as 5 grasping aggregates is suffering. I don't like this translation, okay? The modern translation by Bani Punyaji is, in short, the personalization of 5 processes is dukkha or unsatisfactory or insecure. When we experience the world, there's 5 processes, as in there's a form that we experience, there's a feeling towards the form, there's a perception regarding the form, there's a story we create about form, and there's awareness. That's all. But we add an entity called self to it. We personalize it. That's where the problem comes. If you can see this, guarantee all your problems without exception will be solved. Okay, it doesn't mean that you won't do anything. You'll be more efficient to do things in the world. In fact, because we personalize our experience, you are actually limited to what you know from the past. Actually, everything in this world is interconnected. As quantum science says, is entangled. So if you don't limit yourself to this small hard drive information, you get access to the entire internet of information. That's another motivation to not limit yourself to this small personal self. Okay, next slide. So I've shown this slide last time, but I just want to emphasize that whatever circumstances people think that we meet, we don't experience them directly. It's filtered through thoughts based on background, belief, biases. There's no one who is not biased. Because of your background, you will definitely bias up to a certain degree. And that produces the anger, sadness, happiness, and so on. So the emotions don't come from outside. I want to keep stressing, which is very good news, because you cannot control outside. You cannot control your boss, you cannot control your children, you cannot control your husband, your wife, okay? Surprisingly, many people go to monks to ask, how can you help me to change my husband, my wife, or my kids? You can't, okay? But you don't have to, because your emotions, your anger, your upset, your depression don't come from them. It comes from your thinking regarding them. And your thinking, you have a choice whether you want to continue or not. You might not have full control over what thoughts come every moment, but you definitely have a choice whether you want to continue with that thought that just came. Okay, so I am giving back the responsibility and the empowerment back to each and every one of you. And this is what Buddha did. Okay, any questions on this? No? Okay, please do put up your hands or type in the chat box if you have a question. Okay. Next slide. So I stress this again. We never ever experience the world we live in. Okay, this is very important. Not some people might think it frightening, but it's the reality. Okay, we only experience the thinking of the world we live in, and in fact, to me, it's more freeing. Some people might think it's frightening, but to me, it's more freeing. More freeing as in, now I'm responsible for my experience. I have freedom, I have liberation. Just by realizing this, to me, you already have this liberation, that you are not a servant of the world. Okay. So, aware of your emotional reaction, you will immediately see the thoughts or the dreams behind the emotional reaction, that you are making effort to sustain the thoughts, like making effort to slap yourself. Realizing this, you will automatically not continue to create the angry thoughts all in one moment, like seeing a dream leading to waking up from the dream. This is the complete path of the Four Noble Truths, and it is in one moment all four noble truths together. By seeing the thoughts or the dreams, I call it dreams as in, thoughts are the dream created world. Behind your emotional reaction, you can see that that is your problem and you won't sustain it. Everything will be done in a single moment. Okay.
Bhante, there's a question to your topic so far. Why is our discussion about thoughts? There are 5 aggregates. Thoughts is one of the mental formations. So, for example, feelings and sensations can also influence how we react. Is there something special about thoughts that we are learning about and how not to react to them?
Okay. Good question. Okay. Thoughts and emotions come together. Okay. But it might be, if you want to change your emotion, it might be difficult because you have to use force. But thoughts, you can use logic to change it. Like, for example, if you see that you are creating your own angry thoughts that causes the anger emotion, then you have this choice not to continue with these angry thoughts. Yeah, but if you try to tackle the anger, you might think that this anger comes from outside. You feel that you are powerless to change the anger unless you suppress it, which is dangerous because one day it will blow up. Yeah, so thought you can use logic to try to change yourself. Okay. So where did Buddha? This is not a very not many people know about this text, this discourse. This is from Gavampati Sutta, Samyutta Nikaya, the book of graduate sayings. Okay, this is from the Sutta Nikaya. Okay, so Buddha says, monks, whoever sees dukkha, the insecurity or unsatisfactoriness, also sees at the same time origination or cause of the dukkha, the cessation or the ending of dukkha, and the path of practice leading to the cessation or ending of dukkha. Which means that there's deeper meaning of Four Noble Truths is all four in one. Once you see the dream of existence, you saw the cause, you saw the solution, and the path is already taken. So this is like what I mentioned just now. The problem and the solution become one, the same. The problem is the dream of existence. The solution is realizing the dream leading to waking up. There's nothing need to be done to a dream to wake up. The minute you see it's a dream, you wake up. It's not that you have to make effort to wake yourself up. Okay, so to me, a lot of the Buddha's teaching is about seeing the reality. Buddha would describe the reality, and when you see it, you have realization. There's not much effort needed. The effort is needed on the willingness to see. Okay. Any questions? So I mentioned last time also, every experience is like a rainbow because it's just an illusion created by our thoughts. So all you can say is an illusion created by our emotions also. If you don't like, you can look the other way. So it's there, but it's not there. So it's very difficult for us because rainbow, you cannot say it doesn't exist. If you told me it doesn't exist, I say I can see it. If you say it exists, then I would say, please bring it to me, and you can't. Okay. So if you can see all our experiences, all the people we come contact with are like rainbow, you have no problem with attachment. You can still enjoy the rainbow without getting attached to it. We still enjoy rainbow, but no one will have this idea that I want to take the rainbow and put it in my house and protect it and lock it up. So this to me is a very good analogy or simile. If you can see every single person in your life, every experience like a rainbow, then you will be very happy because you can still enjoy it, but you won't hold on to it. Okay, next. What can you see? What do you see in this picture?
Two triangles and 3 circles, Bhante.
2 triangles, right? There's a white triangle in the middle, And then it's a black, in a sense, black line triangle, right? Everyone see this? But this is not what is on the picture.
Yeah.
So on the picture is there's broken lines of this black line triangle, and this I don't know, this round black thing has also some broken parts, missing parts. It gives you the idea that there is a white triangle. It's an illusion. Our brain is so smart that we read things, we see things that's not there because of our programming and training from the past. The reason I show you this is I just want to keep emphasizing that whatever we see, hear, smell, taste is not ultimate reality. But every one of us take it as ultimate reality. The day when you can really see that everything we see, smell, taste, and so on is not ultimate reality, it's just stories made up by ourselves, we won't believe in our thoughts so much, and we won't get lost in our thoughts. And then we have a lot of space to connect to the infinite potential in the universe. One leads to the other without any hard effort, without forcing yourself. If you keep seeing that whatever you see, hear, smell, whatever you experience is not reality, it's stories made up by yourself, you will not believe your thoughts that much. And slowly, you won't get lost in your thoughts. When you don't get lost in your thoughts, actually, you can enjoy life much better because you don't conceptualize things. The minute a kid is taught something that fly and lively as a bird, they don't experience this lively flying thing anymore. Because the next time they see a bird, they stop there. But actually, there's so many aspects to it. So the day when you realize that your thoughts are not reality, you'll be free from being a servant to your thoughts. Okay, the next one I like a lot. Can you read this? You find this simple to read because of the phenomena power of the human mind. Most people do. Okay, if you can read this like what I did just now, you are reading what is not there. Because the actual words is DOYUOFNIDTIHS. But yet we can read it as do you find this? That's because we have been programmed to work in a certain way. And we believe that is the ultimate reality. It's not. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, next. What time do we have? Okay, we still have. So I like this a lot. I don't know how they draw it. One side sees 3, one side sees 4. So everything we hear is opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. And we spend so much time, effort, quarreling over things like this. And countries go to war over things like this because we see different angles. Same. Just because you are right doesn't mean I'm wrong. You just haven't seen life from my side. Because every single one of us personalize what we experience, so we only see from this angle. And in fact, there's no angle that is correct because every angle is made up by our mind. Next slide. Most people have seen this before. There is an old woman and a young woman at the same picture. Okay, if you can't see, this is the face, the eyelash, and the nose, the younger woman. Okay, and this is the eyes, nose, and the mouth of the older lady. Okay, so depends on which angle. If you are biased towards seeing older person, maybe you will see the old lady. If you're biased towards the younger person, you will see the younger lady. Next. Okay. Any question before I tell some real life stories?
Not so far, Bhante.
Okay, good. So there's this, I usually tell these few stories because to me, they can illustrate how our experiences is all created by our mind. Okay, so the first story is about this. If I'm not mistaken, it's Mark Howard, but the story is real. I can't remember exactly the name of the. They call themselves. Oh, he's a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I can't remember, in America. Okay, so anyway, he's a member of this three principles, where basically they teach that whatever you experience is a reflection of your mind. What I shared with you just now. So he was trying to explain to this old lady who was depressed for 30 years. And he was trying to get her to see that her depression is a reflection of her depressive thoughts. But she just can't see. After the 5th day, Mark Howard he was a very patient guy, but he just sort of gave up. And he looked at the old lady and says, have you ever in your life been happy? And he was quite surprised. The old lady replied, yes, every morning. And Mark says, but what happened? And she says, when I opened my eyes, I started thinking of all the reasons why I shouldn't be happy. And I went into depression. The minute she saw that, she solved her depression. That's it. 30 years of depression gone, because she saw that she's creating her own depression by her own thinking. But it might not be so easy to see. But once you see, you solve the problem. So again, it's about realization, about seeing. If you see the reality, your whole entire life will change. Not the world change, but the way you see the world change, so the world becomes different. Okay, next case study is all these are real cases. In 1957, this is a case study done by Dr. Bruno Klopser. You can find it in the internet. This is on Dr. Philip West and the patient, Mr. Wright. I got it from 2 books, Mind Over Medicine by Dr. Lisa Rankin and You Are Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So this patient had the last stage of cancer and has tumor as big as orange on the neck, on the body, and so on. But at that time, he heard that there is a medicine, I think it's called Criboxan, which under clinical trial. Okay, so he begged his doctor, Dr. Philip West, to have a trial on him. But the doctor says that the company only want to try on people who have 3 months or 6 months lifespan. They don't want to waste it on people who are going to die next week. So the doctor said, no, you are not on. But he was very persistent. He kept begging and begging and begging. And finally, out of no choice, the doctor prescribed it to him. And surprisingly, within a few days, the tumor melted like snowballs on a stove. Within a week, he was totally cured. He walked out from the hospital totally free from cancer. But unfortunately, a few months later, he read a report that the medicine Criboxan actually was not effective at all. It's just all marketing gimmick. It's not true. It's all fake. So the minute he saw this, immediately his tumor slowly come back up and went back to the last stage of cancer. He went back to see Dr. Philip West, and Dr. Philip West suddenly has a realization. This guy didn't get cured because of the medicine. He got cured because of his thinking. So Dr. Philip West told him that, yes, that medicine supposedly not effective, but they have produced a special variation. I'm going to give you this, and you are the first one to have this. You have the privilege. You are special. And he injected on him sugar water. Again, few days, no, it only took 2-3 days. Mr. Wright, again, his tumor melted like the snowball on the stove. After a week, again, he walked out cancer-free. So it's not the medicine that cured him, it's his thinking about the medicine. But you need someone very convincing as a doctor. But now you can't do it. You can get sued even if you help. The doctor can get sued even if you cured the patient. So anyway, the story unfortunately didn't end there. Another few months later, maybe a year later, much later, Mr. Wright read in a report that actually the company that produced Cribozin, all their medicine are not effective. The government raided their company and actually realized that all are fake. And his cancer came back, and this time he passed away, unfortunately. But this is in 1957. So the important thing is the mind can move from one side to the other side. And when the mind moves, it changes the whole body. So this is trying to stress that what you experience is not the reality. You experience the dream created by your mind. And I just now explained to you the case of me, my mom, and the cancer. And there's another last story. This one also you can find on the internet about Dr. Bruce Mosley, orthopedic surgeon, renowned for operating on knee pain. Okay, actually, quite surprising. People who are my age onwards, 50s, normally, luckily, touch wood, I don't have this problem, normally have knee problem. And I know a doctor in Kuching, his wait list, the patient had to wait list 1 year for the operation. So there's a lot of people with this problem. So anyway, Dr. Bruce Mosley is supposed to be the best surgeon on this. And he was very proud of it. Okay, but one day his friend told him, maybe it's not your skill that cured the patient. Maybe it's because of their blind faith in you. And he got a bit upset. He said, let's do an experiment. Okay, we will get the patients, 2 groups of patients. One group of patients, he actually operated on them like normal. Another group, he actually just do a scratch on the knee without any operation at all. But he pretend that he operated on them, gave them the same type of treatment as in, treating them the same, that they need to do some rehab and so on, making them believe that they are being operated on. And when the result came out, surprisingly, those who were not operated on performed better than those operated on. And one of those who were not operated on, when he was interviewed, he was saying, I'm so grateful that Dr. Mosley operated on me. Now my knee is as good as new. But he wasn't being operated on. Again, if you think that you can program your mind to do that, maybe a bit difficult. We need blind faith on another doctors. Okay. Any questions on this before I move on?
It was just a comment, Bante, on the placebo effect. Is this what you're referring to? Which was the mind's experience?
Yeah, placebo effect. Yeah, correct.
Yep. Thank you.
And nocebo effect, the negative. Placebo and nocebo.
Yep. No further questions then.
Okay, so the cause, the second noble truth. The reason I put in Pali is I just want to show you few keywords. So Buddha asked, say, idam ko panya bhikkhave dukkha samudayam arya satcham. Arya noble, the word is important. Okay. Yayang tanha. So the keyword is tanha, the cause. Hono bhavika. Bhavika is to be present again and again. Okay. The rest I won't read because I'll give you the English translation later. Okay. So the keyword, one is noble. Okay, so you have to remember it's noble. So to me, the original translation of tanha as craving and holding on things, I don't see the nobility in it. Okay, the modern translation for tanha is emotional disturbance or blind emotions. And this, to me, is very noble because the emotional reactions comes together with this personalization. When you can see it immediately, you won't continue to create that personalization. So emotional reactions or disturbances will not have the fuel to continue. So it's a matter of seeing or realizing. That's the nobility or profundity of it. Okay, so this is the English translation. The emotional reaction that makes for further existence, accompanied by passion or delight, entangled and enchanted. The passion and delight means you're entangled and enchanted in it, relishing now here and now there, lost in the world of many layers of senses or dimension, emotional reaction due to sensual pleasure, emotional reaction due to existence, emotional reaction due to non-existence. This is from Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the first discourse of the Buddha. I just want to rearrange the words here a little bit to make it more clearer for modern language. So the second noble truth, the cause, dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, or the insecurity, is the emotional reaction which is caused by your perception, okay? That is continuously creating and maintaining the thought-created dream or game world through its enchanting power, passion, and delight in the 6D immersion, the six senses. So to me, we are quite lucky because in this current modern world where we have virtual reality, we can get a feel of this. How our perception is creating a virtual reality for us. And this virtual reality is a 6D because seeing, hearing, and so on, not the normal 3D that we have or even 4D in a movie. So imagine in the movie, we can cry, we can laugh, and so on. So similarly, the stories that we create, we can laugh and cry. But if you can really see that it's similar, then we have a choice not to get lost in it. And we also have the choice not to continue with that movie. Imagine if you walk into a Cineplex now, Cineplex 1 is showing horror movie and you don't like horror movie, you can go to Cineplex 2. Similarly, in your mind, there are hundreds of movies playing. You have a choice which channel you want to turn to. Okay. In fact, quite interesting, a friend of mine was pointing to me yesterday. Actually, the problem we have is we think we have one self, Nyaninda, here. Actually, there is thousands of us here. There is a Nyaninda who is a monk. There is a Nyaninda who is a Malaysian. There is a Nyaninda who had spent a lot of time in Australia. So there's many different Nyaninda, and we think there is one. And that's also a problem. If we can accept that there are many, many different of us, then problems are not so difficult. Okay. Any questions on this second noble truth?
Bhante, I've got a question on the definition of tanha on this slide, and that being in red, an emotional reaction. I think it's quite unique and different from what normal people would have seen in the traditional texts. Perhaps you could elaborate further on it.
Okay, good. Normally, tanha is always translated as craving or attachment.
Correct.
And this emotional reaction translation is given by Pandit Punyaji. And I'll give you some background so that you're aware who he is. He's a Sri Lankan, which means that his mother tongue, Sinhalese, is very close to Pali. Okay, and that's one advantage. Second advantage is he is a graduate in medicine, medical doctor, qualified medical doctor. So he understands how the mind, the brain works. He has a PhD degree in psychology from American University. So his English is very fluent. That helps in the translation. And he's also a meditator and a scholar. And the reason he translates emotional reaction, he was saying that it doesn't make sense to translate tanha as attachment because tanha also covers the positive part. You can't say that I attach to something happiness or pleasurable or something. Emotional reaction will be applicable for positive and negative. So that's his justification for this. And I resonate with this more because I don't know, I feel that to attribute the cause of our problem to our attachment, maybe it's true, but it gives the idea that you are naughty, you're a bad boy, you're a bad girl. Somehow I feel that in the modern world, might not be able to sync with the modern world. This is only my opinion. But anyway, his translation is because it's more neutral, emotional reaction.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Bhante. I guess from myself, I've heard craving to be translated more as, or tanha is more as a thirst. So a thirst for the senses or a thirst for something to arise. I guess it's just a bit different, but I see where you're coming from.
So, okay, I just want to stress that with the new translation that I share with you, doesn't mean that the old translation are no good at all. It's just give a different perspective.
Yep.
To me, if we see from many different perspectives, then you will get closer towards the reality rather than stay in one perspective. Like I say, there's many Nyaninda. If you just see one, you get very narrow-minded. Okay.
I have
another question. Yeah.
I understand the cause of the mental distress from the thoughts. What about the real physical pain? Let's say I get sometimes a real headache or something. Is there any way to reduce that as well?
Okay. Same. Actually, you'll be quite surprised. I think I mentioned in the last sharing and also just now that the way you think about your your physical distress will result in whether it's painful or not. Okay, whether you have this, my stomach very painful, maybe I'm going to have cancer, maybe I'm going to die. It's going to be very painful. But if you have this idea that there is a sharp sensation on the stomach, the pain is very different. In fact, from my experience, you actually don't feel the pain. There is still sharp sensation, but you don't feel pain. And it happens to me twice. Once I had shingles, it was very painful, and I keep wondering how long it's going to last, what should I do and all that, and it becomes more and more painful until I just stop and begin to accept it as it is, just a sharp sensation on my body. You'll be quite surprised that I don't feel pain anymore. I still feel the sharp sensations, but I don't feel pain anymore. And similarly, another time I had frozen shoulders, very painful. I can't even wear my robes properly. Again, with all the thoughts running, this is how long will it last? Will it cause more problems? Will it be permanent and so on? Very painful. Until I sat down, accepted that it's happening. I know whether you fight with it, you still have to accept it. In fact, I told it, I will let you be as strong as you want to be. I won't fight with you. And I take it as just sensation coming from the body. Yes, there is still sharp sensation on the body. I still have difficulty wearing my robes, but there is no pain in a sense. There is no suffering. So, but this one, you need a little bit of a calmness of mind. And you need to keep exploring to not believe your thoughts. The conscious one first. Then you work out. If you don't believe your conscious mind, then the subconscious also slowly won't believe that it's true. But unfortunately, most of us now, we believe our conscious mind as the truth and we're still the unconscious as the ultimate non-negotiable truth. So it takes a bit of training, but it can be done for anyone, I believe. You just have to be aware in your daily life. Every time when you have sensation, you just have to be aware not to claim ownership of it. Any further questions on this? I feel that this is very important because as we grow older, we will get more pain and ache. So being able to handle it is very, very important.
So should we avoid painkillers or should we continue when we get such pain?
Sorry, I can't hear the last part.
Avoid painkillers like medicines.
Oh, okay. Don't fight. Should you use painkiller or not? Like for me, for both cases, I went to see a doctor. Okay, I'm not asking you don't see a doctor. But if you don't need painkillers, then don't use it. If you need, you use it. Each person's tolerance to pain is different. So you cannot give one prescription for all. As your mind becomes stronger, you actually don't need the painkillers. But it's not, you cannot force yourself because you create trauma.
Okay.
Thank you, Venerable. Venerable, can I just go back to earlier when you were talking about Dhamma and the interpretation of the Pali word? So yeah. I think earlier you said that there was a positive part of Dhamma Is that right? Is that what you said?
No, I'm saying that this tanha applies to you having tanha not just towards like tanha towards a cigarette. You also have like tanha towards maybe enjoying steam bath.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and also okay. Also you have tanha towards sorry, I got lost. Also you have tanha towards maybe unpleasant feeling, like chronic disease.
Mm.
That's also covered with tanha. But normally we think of tanha as your tanha towards steam bath, tanha towards eating good food. But when you translate as craving or thirst, you don't translate as thirst or craving towards unpleasant feeling. Yeah, thanks for the question. Then clarify more.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, basically, normally when we think of tanha, we think of you wanting to get something, but rejection of things, it's also tanha.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay, I missed the point this now. Thanks.
No, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, one more question. I guess coming from a perspective of the artist, where a lot of people relish in emotional reaction because it makes them feel alive. What is your response to that?
Okay, good question. Okay, when I talk about emotional reaction, I'm talking about anger, upset, the high and low of happiness and sadness. Bhante Punjaji don't put the 4 Brahma Vihara under emotional reaction. By the way, the 4 Brahma Vihara is metta, loving kindness, compassion, karuna, mudita, sympathetic joy, upeka, this equanimity. So the flow that you describe for those artists, it's more on having this metta, karuna, mudita, upeka in working for them. So Bhante Punjaji don't consider those as emotional reaction. He considered that as going beyond the emotional reaction because it's not through the self. Like a song composer or a dancer, when they lose themselves or lose herself or himself, they go into the flow, they perform incredibly. It's back to not personalizing. Okay, thanks, good question.
Thank you.
Okay, next, let me see what else. Okay, so I just finish off this, maybe we might have to end. Okay, so the third noble truth, Nirodha, cessation, the cessation of blind emotions or emotional disturbances. I prefer to talk about it as being conscious of the unconscious emotion or emotional reaction. Okay, when you are conscious, you won't continue. So the third noble truth is when you see that the world that you live in is a dream or game created by your thoughts, and your dreamer and you, the dreamer, and the gamer is also a dream or game, not just a dream and game. This also is a game, dream and game. You automatically cease holding onto the dream as reality, and all your emotional reactions ceases. Okay, yeah. So this is basically the third noble truth. It's basically about realizing and seeing that you live in a dream or game created world. Let me see whether I have one more. Okay, so this is the noble cessation or the ending of the dream world. Okay, maybe this is the last slide. I won't go to the fourth noble truth. So the world basically is a reflection of the mind, and I use 2 quotes from the Pali text. One is this, in Citta Suttam is Samyutta Nikaya, SN is Samyutta Nikaya, on the mind. Chittena niyati loko, chittena parikasati. The world is led on by emotional reaction. Bhante Punjaji translates chitta as emotion, mano as thought, okay, different part of the mind. By emotional reaction, the world is swept away. Chittasa ekadamasa sabe wasamang wagu. They all follow the authority of one thing. That means the whole world follow authority of one thing. emotional reaction. And from Dhammapada verse 1 and 2, Mano Pubang Kama Dhamma, Mano Seta, Mano Maya, all phenomena, our world, have thought as their forerunner, they have thought as their chief, they are thought made. Okay, I think we have 15 minutes. We end at another 15 minutes, right?
That's correct, Bhante.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll stop the slide. Let me see whether I have any, what's next. Okay, I don't need this. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Actually, The Brain by David Egerman, you can actually watch it as a documentary, 6-part series. It's quite interesting for those who are interested to understand how the brain works. And for those who find it easier to watch video than reading the books.
Thanks for that talk, Bhante. It's quite refreshing to see things from a different perspective. I have heard of Venerable Punaji through one of my teachers, Bhante Vimalaramsi. And yes, so he himself looked up to Venerable Punaji a lot in his exploration of the jhanas, because he was closely aligned to the suttas, I heard. Is that correct?
Yeah, he gives a different interpretation on these jhanas.
Yes.
Different from the traditional interpretation.
Yeah. Would you mind sharing just a little bit if you have time?
I can summarize, okay, but it might not do full justice to it. Okay, so what happened is traditionally, we are being told jhana is you concentrate on a single object and then you get absorbed into the object and you become one with the object and you cut off from what's happening in the world. That's a traditional interpretation. And if you ask where is it from, surprisingly, it's from Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, okay, which is a text written maybe 500-600 years after the Buddha passed away, or maybe longer than that. But I want to emphasize that we cannot just throw away this Visuddhimagga, okay, because some people have this idea that since it's a commentary, we shouldn't follow it, throw away, because the whole text quote a lot from the actual suttas. So basically, it's a thesis where the author tried to put the path step by step, and every step he will quote from the suttas given by the Buddha. Okay, but unfortunately, I feel that this is only my opinion that all the explanation about the practice, including jhanas, there is no step-by-step in the suttas. So a lot of us have this idea that in order to get the jhanas, you maybe watch your breath or object and then you absorb it. It's never mentioned in any suttas. And for my opinion, I feel that why Buddha never mentioned step-by-step is because Buddha's path is mainly a lot about realization, seeing. When you give a method, people will hold on to the method. They will not try to realize and see. But the problem is people need method. They need prescription. Buddha actually gave a description for you to realize. So that's why the Visuddhimagga came about, because there's a prescription that people can follow. So I wouldn't say it's totally wrong, but it can be misleading also. So according to, very briefly, okay, I don't have time to go detail. So basically, Punyaji's explanation of jhana is that when you keep seeing that you are personalizing your experience through your thoughts and emotion, you will not believe your thoughts and emotions so much. And you will have less and less personalization, which means less and less thoughts. Your mind, your activity of the mind will slowly slow down. You are still aware what's going on, but you are not lost in this mental activity. You still see here, but you don't add the extra stories to it. That is the jhana.
I see. Yep.
So his jhana is you can still walk around and you are not cut off from the world. He don't believe in this jhana of cutting off the world.
Right. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Another question that's come up is, and I'll read it here. For those of us learning about dreamlike experience, it can cause some agitation. I can see that it can cause repression or bypassing of experiences, passing them off as dreamlike anyways. How can we be aware of that in our practice, where we're still rooted or we are still rooting our awareness in reality? That's the question.
You have to keep exploring, okay? That whatever you think is not, but dreamlike is not nothing, okay? So don't go to the other side of nothingness, okay? It's easier to give you practical example. Okay, so every Friday I have sharing discussions on this topic or related to this topic. And one Friday, the MC was rushing back to her home to start the Zoom. And what she did was she called back to her house to ask her younger sister to prepare a simple instant noodle for her so that she can have dinner quickly and start. But when she reached home, the face was really sour. You can tell that the sister was really upset. And the sister just pushed the noodle to her. And her immediate reaction is, I just asked you to make an instant noodle. What's so difficult about it? Why are you so upset? And a lot of rambling goes on to her mind. And the next moment, fortunately, the thought that comes to her mind is, Bhante said, don't believe my thoughts. So she stopped, continue with the session. Until the session ends, she was calm. She went to ask her mother what happened to her sister. And the mother says, no, because the whole day she was nagging her sister and the sister was very frustrated. It has nothing to do with her. So we always assume everything is to do with us. No. So you have to experiment in your daily life. Dhamma is to be practiced in daily life. One of my masters keep emphasizing that you can meditate 10 hours without moving. That's no use. Does your relationship with people, your work environment and all that, does it improve? If your relationship with people is terrible and you can sit 10 hours, that's no use at all. So it's about putting the Dhamma to use. So to me, practicality of Dhamma is very important. So my Friday night sessions, actually I call it awareness of Dhamma in daily drama. Because every day you have many drama, you quarrel and all that. Can you see that you quarrel because of the thoughts in your mind? Nothing to do with that person, actually.
Well, indeed, thanks for sharing that advice. Seeing the Dharma in the drama.
Yeah.
Another question has come up on anxiety. Coming back to anxiety, the question is, I can understand that anxious thoughts are coming from my own mind, but sometimes find it impossible to just think positive thoughts, in quotation. Do you have any practical advice? Example, a certain type of meditation or maybe a mantra or something that would be useful in that moment? Okay.
Just digress a little bit. I want to emphasize that I'm not encouraging positive thinking, because positive thinking still have this, I'm not saying it's bad, still have this idea that I have to think positive, then only I will be happy, or you still think that the thinking is real. What I'm trying to emphasize is whether you think positive or negative, they are not real. So if you have 1 billion negative thoughts and you know it's not real, there's no problem. Because thoughts arise and it goes by itself. You don't actually have to think positive. If you know it's not real, you can have 1 billion negative thoughts. It doesn't affect you. Okay. Okay. Regarding a mantra, there's this guy called Max Strom. Okay. You can find it, Max Strom. You can find in YouTube. He specializes in helping CEOs solve their panic attack. Same with anxiety. And quite simple. Basically, you breathe in. There's certain counting, I can't remember exactly, but it doesn't really matter in the end, it says, It's just that when you put your attention on the counting and you put your attention on your breath, you can't think anxious thought anymore. So you breathe in, maybe count to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The number is not so important. You can do 4, 7, 8 or 4, 4, 4. The important thing is when you shift your attention towards counting and towards breath, you have no room to think anxious thought, so you can't feel anxious.
Thanks for sharing that, Bhante, and hopefully that helps, Nikki.
Yeah, hopefully. Please try. And it doesn't work if you try once. You have to try a number of times.
As we approach the end of the session, do we have any final questions from our audience tonight? If not, maybe Bhante, we would like to invite you to do a bit of sharing. Sharing of merits or closing prayer.
What I'll do is also I will put in the chat group my Friday night sessions. It's a bit late for people in Australia because we start at 8 p.m. Malaysia time, so about 10 p.m. Sydney time. But just in case you're interested, everyone is welcome to join. There is a Telegram chat group that if you want to join the Zoom, please join the Telegram chat group just in case if there's any changes to the Friday night, we will let you know through the Telegram chat group. Okay, we will share merits. Share merits with all the Devas, Dhamma protectors, guardian deities. Share merits with all family members, relative friends, especially departed family member, relative friends, and ancestors. Make aspiration, always with the wise, avoid the foolish, be free from greed, hatred, delusion. At the end again, share merits with each and every single beings, wishing each and every single beings have equal share of merits. Etawata cha'amehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe deva numodantu sabba sampati sitya. Etawata cha'amehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe buddha numodantu sabba sampati sitya. Etawata cha'amehi sampadang punya sampadang sabe sata numodantu sabba sampati sitya. Idame nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyatinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yawa nipana patiya. Idame punyang asawa kaya wahang hotu. Idame punyang nibana sa pacayo hotu. Mama punya bagang sabasatanang pacima. Te sabe me samam punya bagang labantu. Sadu, sadu, sadu. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you very much, Bhante. I think I can speak on behalf of everybody here. Thank you very much for a very refreshing talk on the Four Noble Truths and taking us through the journey of waking up to the dream and helping us realize our thoughts are creating the world around us. And with that blessing, we can wake up to the reality and see things as they really are. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much. Just a few short announcements before we go. And Bhante, any announcements from your end if you'd like to announce any? Okay. So just to let our audience know that we've got regular sessions for meditation on Monday, 7 to 8:30 on Zoom and in person here in Bankstown. There's yoga at 6:30 in Bankstown. And for our next Wednesday wisdom session, it's going to be held at Parramatta only, not in Bankstown, just because we're spreading our reach into the west of Sydney. So just take note of that. We've got monthly sessions with Ayya Karunika last Sunday of the month, 5 to 7:30 in Parramatta. We've got special events. Ajahn Tanisaro is visiting Sydney, so we're very privileged to have a very senior meditation and scholar monk visiting us for the 22nd and 23rd of November, where he'll hold a one-day retreat here in Bankstown. We've also got our pilgrimage to Sri Lanka, all available on metacenter.com. Sign up and hope to see you in person or online for all our events. And if you'd like to join our WhatsApp, the link is on the chat as well. Please join us. And yeah, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Venerable. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bante.
Friends.
Thank you.